Just recently I listened to a very interesting radio show on Veritas Radio. Mel Fabregas did a tremendous job in interviewing a person that claims extraordinary experiences in Antarctica. Watch the video to the end. You will be surprised what we found. We decided to have a hypnosis remote viewing session to see what we could get, and the results were out of this world. Okay, just quick to show you Veritas Radio show. So no, I'm not promoting it, I'm not gonna get paid, I'm just a member of this fabulous radio show. And this was the podcast or the show featured. And Mel Fabregas, the owner of Veritas Radio, had this interview with this person. I'm going to show him. His name is Carlos Tora, that speaks Spanish, and Mel Fabregas had to, of course, translate that. So from his story, we made our session. Just to scroll down a little bit here and read that. Carlos will tell us about the messages given by Nimrod, a being of the fifth dimension, as well as a first revelation about Atlantis and its inhabitants, the pyramids, etc. So a very interesting story, and his experiences were really, really interesting. The whole thing as well was about a big cube that he discovered, and that was the point where I entered our session. So I gave Heidi the symbol cube, and of course as well Antarctica. After this radio show on Veritas Radio with Mel Fabregas, like I said, I decided to have a session done. So Heidi did not know anything about it, about that show. So I made my mind up and decided to go with her into a session. All I gave her prior to the session, that's what I usually do, I gave her a symbol and a location. The symbol was a cube and the location was Antarctica. So she went into the meditation, and just after that I put her in trance and we started with our session. Okay, Heidi, we about 2 hours ago we finished the session, and I figured that in the first couple hours after the session everything is still warm, still present. Yes. And I would like to ask you how you experienced it from your perspective, because usually in the session there's many things that you see, feel, experience that is not outspoken. Okay, so I'm just asking you, how did you experience that whole thing? Where do you want to begin?
Well, there's so much to kind of go through, but I think the first is when I realized from a distance I saw something, but I couldn't figure out exactly what it was until I started getting closer. And what it was I was trying to not assume it, but I could see it. And there was an image of some type of creature-looking thing, which was on all fours and had bumps going all the way down his spine. And basically, I think what he was trying to do is show me, come this way, I have something to tell you. And because he was digging, so it got my attention, like he was trying to get my attention. But at the same time, I backed up because there was another being where you could see his breath, and I've had seen him in a previous session we had. He knew that in that last session that I was there, but this session, whatever this, and there's something over there digging a hole, but he won't let me see him. And then there's this very tall, I can't see his face, but he was breathing really hard. those lights are flying by and they're going, I think they're going in the hole maybe. And on the back of his head, you can see the bones. Not like a skull. The being was on all fours that was trying to show me, was pretty much saying, come here. I need to show you something. You're protected. He can't see you. It's almost like I have a wall going up so he doesn't know you're here. You're safe. You're fine. Mm-hmm. So at the moment I saw that and I felt that, I said, okay, I'm going to go closer. And that's when I did. And from there you were asking me, leading me into the direction where I needed to go. Once I got there, I think there was a time when we were in a vortex.
Please subscribe to our channel and give us a nice thumbs up. And whatever you have to say, put it down in the comment section so we can discuss it. We always appreciate your comments and your thoughts. And don't forget to activate the notification bell.
I think there was a time when we were in a vortex. In the beginning.
I wanted you to go through a vortex to
get to where we were at.
With the symbol that I gave you beforehand, okay. Yeah.
But as I'm going through this vortex, it was like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. These lights were flying by. Like I wasn't even there. So I felt like I was dodging them the whole time. Mm. And I think I'm going to go to what that probably is, of why I saw that. But as he shows me, we go into a hole where the light was. And from there, I realized that I am underground somewhere. Who knows where I was, and I tried not to put a image to it or names or anything. I just was like, okay, see sharp things. I feel like I'm inside the ground, maybe. I'm not outside, I'm inside something.
Okay.
I don't want to say they're crystals, but they are shiny, and it's almost like you can see reflections, and from there, the whole room was full of them. And I felt myself going deeper and deeper into this location wherever I was. And the being that was leading me and somewhat guiding me to that point, I could not see him no longer. So of course I'm like, wow, I'm really going deep into this.
Maybe you want to explain a little bit how you experienced that or perceived that being with the bumps. You said he had like bumps going all over his head, back to his spine. Maybe explain a little bit how you experienced.
So what I experienced with him is that I felt that he was somewhat very old. Almost to a point where I don't know exactly what he was, but I felt that he was there to show me. It was placed there to show me, I'm going to show you this direction. You might not know who I am, but I'm going to lead you there. So what I didn't really see his face, but I did see his body, and it was more of like there really wasn't any meat on it. Very skinny.
Did it have any clothing on it?
No. No, but he was just digging and digging and digging, and this, whatever he was, the other being actually had clothing, and you could see his breath. You could see when he would breathe, it would come out, because I think the location that we were in was very cold. Mm-hmm. But I really tried to disconnect from feeling things, because I feel when I do that, I start getting a little bit anxiety. So I've learned, and you've helped me to disconnect from that. But as I'm going through this underground area, I'm trying to remember everything now, of seeing a lot of metallic liquids. I would say metallic, and I had said it's kind of like when you solder something, it's that same texture.
Like liquid silver or liquid mercury.
Mm-hmm. So there's silver stuff. It's liquid silver. As if you would want to see like a lake or something, but it's liquid silver.
Okay, it looks like liquid silver.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was a pool of it. So what I was being explained is that this is some type of a protection field to protect whatever is needing to be protected. As I went further into it, there was water on the other side. And that's when I started seeing the lights. There's the silver stuff that I was telling you about, but as you go further past the silver, it's actually water you see.
If I would like to ask you, the water, was it like a lake or a river? Or what do you mean by that, water? And what kind of environment was that in? Like in a cave or underground? Or
it
more
was
specific?
Inside. I believe this was inside of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like it was inside. But as far as feeling goes, whether it was cold or hot, or I was a little surprised because I think I was expecting to feel differently, and it was like, no, it's no different than what I feel now. But as I went past the metallic liquid solution, it was more of clear water. You couldn't really see a lot that was underneath, but you could see these lights flickering here and there. And from there, it was like I saw holes. And in these holes, there was, I felt and heard the word 7. And I saw a cube, but it was not like a cube. It was a cube stacked on top of a cube, on a cube, on a cube, in this little constructive image that I saw. But also 7 holes. And so they all had different shapes, but this cube was the biggest of all of them. So it kind of basically controlled the other areas. And so these beings that were being shown were extremely tall, very long arms and legs.
Okay, you may have to explain now the lights and the connection of those lights and those beings. First you experienced the lights going fast by you, and then it changed into a shape first, you remember? You said that?
Yeah. So, right, and what I was seeing was more of cigar-shaped, whatever.
Objects.
Mm-hmm. It's an object.
What
They're
is it?
objects.
The light?
It's an object.
Okay. What makes you think it's an object?
Because it looks like a cigar. And from there, I would get clips of things, and they would go through into the water, and then all of a sudden, somehow this being showed up. But they have a way to change their matter.
Their appearance?
Uh-huh. So within a split second, they could be just completely gone, like a light. It could be the being, and then it turns into a light, and then it's just gone. And this being that's in front of me is pretty tall.
Mm-hmm.
But he can change his
appearance or form?
In front of me where you can't even see him anymore. He turns into a ball of light. So they're able to do that, and I believe whoever they are very knowledgeable, very intelligent, and they've probably lived many years. So what he basically was explaining to me, and as he's standing there, he's lifting his arms up, and with his arms you could see he was trying to show me the universe, that it's an infinite universe, that it goes on and on and on, and it's not what we see in books as we would see it. So he's showing in front of me different parts of the universe, and has some really long arms and legs, and now they're all showing up. And
who is there?
Whatever he is.
Others like him?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think they weren't sure who I was. At least the others weren't. He's the brave one, I think. Maybe the leader.
Mm-hmm.
He's let me touch him. There are some things that would be very similar, but a lot of the planets are not on how we assume them to be. So, but what he says, and that's where I feel like I need to be careful.
Well, we will explain then maybe that we cannot share everything, but just what you feel is okay right now.
That there are areas within our universe where there are secret areas within planets that are placed, and this is kind of like a equation that they have figured out because of their intelligence to keep everything in alignment to where it needs to be. However, it needs to be shifted at times, and sometimes when that shift occurs, it shifts the universe and different planets from just a little tiny speck of whatever needs
almost
to be.
like the butterfly effect a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it can be catastrophic in some ways, and we think it's a bad thing, but very, very, it really in some way is not. It's just an alignment. It's like an equation that they have came up with and have been able to place these objects, which I don't want to go into, on aligning it in certain areas within the universe and different planets. And by doing so, it actually helps to create a new environment so that we can thrive. So that it's somewhat helping our planet, but it's changing also. It has to change.
Mm-hmm. So are they here to help us in the change, or is it?
Yes, but there are ones that don't. That's why he's very apprehensive of what to say, because there are always ones that don't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we might be feeling this, I think as human beings sometimes we know something's not right or something's being shifted or this and that, because it's all an energy thing somewhat.
Mm-hmm. Sorry to interrupt you. I was asking you in the session then, well, what's the point for us to know those things? Is there anything that we can share?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we shouldn't share? And I felt that whoever was in charge there with you talking, I was very careful on what to say, and as well wanted us to know that we have to be careful about what is to share. So maybe you can explain that a little bit, that
Mm-hmm.
interaction with that
Mm-hmm.
being.
Yeah. Basically what's happening here is that these things need to happen in order to be a thriving planet, in order to go further, in order to be more of a thriving in the universe. If it is not put in place, there could be a lot of devastation to that.
So those cubes are then all over the place? They're in different places or what?
In our planet.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other ones in other solar systems, he says.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a chain of reaction somehow. It's a chain that's connected as you can't see it with the human eye.
So those cubes have a certain function on the planet?
Yes. They have the ability to change the planet in many ways.
Well, whatever you think you can share, it's more maybe the interaction with the being that try to explain how we can...
So they come in pure goodness. They are trying to help our planet. But of course there are ones that want to be more in control. And they are the ones that are trying to find these secrets of the universe in order to be in control and to wipe out certain planets for their own meanings, their own... I can't think of the word.
That's okay, just forget it, I'll come back. I want to lead you somewhere else. I was asking through you as well if they are...
Benefit. Their own benefit. Their own benefit.
Those that want to control and
Yes.
want to get that technology, whatever they have, or the knowledge,
right,
to use it for their own benefit. And from there I went on to ask you if they work with humans, if they ever work with humans, if they have interaction, or if they're just quite for themselves. What can you say there?
They have at one time worked with humans, but as humans can be somewhat corrupt because of the influence, they're extremely careful what they do now. So they have learned through existence and trial and error that they are very cautious of what they do and who they interact with. Mm-hmm. And they have a sense of knowing this in many different ways. They're also very telepathic because basically we were communicating telepathically.
Well, that's always telepathically. Mm-hmm. It's just to go into the next question here. What I tried to figure out when you were in the session is, well, what's the point for us to know? And of course they said, well, you were asking and you led to us. But my question was, and I repeated that question somehow, what can we take out? What's the point of knowing that right now for us, the two of you, and what can we share? I found that a little bit difficult to figure out what we should do with that information. Right now it's almost like an interesting story, and we know there are things going on, and there are many factions doing things either visible or not visible to our eyes, and we just figured out something else. But what's the point of knowing that right now? What can you say about that?
Well, I think that they are very intelligent species, whatever these beings are. And they want us to figure it out for ourselves, but they're giving us hints. So there's times when the information is coming through, but at times we're unsure of what to believe. Mm-hmm. And I think it's coming to a time now where it's more open and people are actually believing in the process and trusting the information. There's a lot of information out there, I understand that. But I think we're becoming more intelligent on understanding what is actually happening.
Well, I hope so.
So, yes. Mm-hmm. But they have also a duty. They have to stay away as much as they can't interfere with that for the well-being of us and them as well, and of our universe. Mm-hmm. And yet they bring in, I believe, seekers that are born into this planet Earth, whether you want to call them prophets or whatever. That's what I feel. Just to kind of give you a little bit of the scoop of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But again, with all this process and there's a lot of inside information that's probably being kept for various reasons. And I don't know if that's in a good or bad way of understanding that, but
okay, to finish that little wrap up, you felt that you had sometimes a few human voices in the background where you could feel some other people around you. You may go into that as a last info here.
Well, what I felt is I was in two different locations. I just feel like I'm on a screen.
So somebody sits at the screen or looks at the screen to monitor you?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm being watched a little bit.
Okay.
And there are a group of people, I believe, on this planet Earth that know this stuff. Maybe not too deep, and they're still trying to find things as if they hire certain individuals that know. So something's been told to them, whether it has to do with back in the early, I don't know, when things went on with what happened in Area 51 or whatever. there is a group of people on this planet that knows quite a bit of information, and they're trying to get more from that. But in order to get that, it is a very difficult as a human being to reach that. And so it's almost like there has to be an intervention when it comes to that. But also, that's being influenced in the control part.
So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, give us a nice thumbs up, activate the notification bell, talk to us in the comment section. As well, just to inform you, we have an Instagram channel, so if you want to follow us there, it would be appreciated. See you soon on this channel.